So as a young girl, I grew up thinking my grandparents was my parents. So around 10, I then found out my family kept secrets that my mom was put in a mental institution when she was 16, right after she had me, and found out my grandfather was my father.
Phenomenal. Colding.
Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome back to Life's Deceit with your girl, Jen Simpson. How are you guys doing? How's your week? How's your morning? How's your afternoon? How's your night? Wherever you are in the world, hello. Welcome to my new subscribers. Welcome to my already subscribers. Thank you guys for continuing to comment, like, share, and please hit the subscribe button before we get into this amazing video today. Oh, by the way, happy belated Father's Day to all my amazing fathers. I hope you guys were pampered, you guys were spoiled, you guys had an amazing day, you got time to relax and reflect on fatherhood. You know, the first time you found out you're going to be a father, that was exciting, right? Ladies, fathers are just as important, valued, needed, and essential as us mothers are. So I hope you guys took care of the fellows. Guys, today we have a very special guest, and I'm excited about this guest because I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw her story and I was like, oh my gosh, there are some amazing stories and phenomenal people who are sharing it and not afraid to let people know what they went through and give light, power, and inspiration to other people. So today we have a very special guest. Her name is Trina Dorsey. Her maiden name is Trina Thompson, and she's not just a powerhouse. She is a thriver. She's thriving in her purpose. She's thriving in breaking generational curses and cycles. She's not only a thriver, but she's a survivor, a two-time, not one, but two-time cancer survivor, guys. When I saw her story, I was more drawn to it because I was listening to it and she was talking about finding out that her grandfather was actually her biological father. So yes, he was not only her grandfather, but he was also her biological father. And she did not find that out until she was an adult. And then later on, she found out about her mom being given up to the state by her parents to cover up the stories. Trina is not only a thriver and a survivor and a powerhouse woman, but she is also an author, and she has an amazing book coming out, and it's titled The Lies That They Tell. I cannot wait for you guys to hear her story and get some inspiration and, just draw from her, soak up information, because breaking generational cycles is not easy. Trust me, guys. I've been on a long journey of doing it, and sometimes you got to stand alone. Sometimes you're going to stand out. Sometimes you're going to have your own family members go against you and what you're trying to do. But listen, there's a group of us. There is a circle of us that are doing it, and we are here to support each other and be there for each other. We are here to uplift and give information and give strength to one another. So Trina Dorsey is on her journey. She's on her accepting her calling and stepping in it boldly, authentically, and not being afraid of what people say and who goes against her. But she's standing in the light and truth of her life, and she's shedding all her beauty and goodness to others. So without further ado, guys, let's welcome Trina Dorsey Thompson. Hi, Trina. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. You look beautiful.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. How was your day?
It was great. It was great.
Yeah. You went to work today or just?
I went to work today. I'm gonna make every day great.
You have to.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if life tries to throw some hard balls at us, we just gotta keep making them great.
Right.
Each day we wake up, we give thanks because it could have been different, right?
Different.
And I want to thank you for accepting my invitation to be my guest today.
No problem. It was an honor.
No, honestly, it's an honor to be in your presence. You sharing your story is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
It speaks life to other people. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I am not the only person. And I'm glad that everybody is now taking the opportunity to speak up, tell their stories, not just for themselves and their families, but for our people because we
Yeah,
have stories, right?
right.
And I feel like sometimes we're misunderstood as the Black community
Yes, we are.
and we are unrepresentative. So a lot of times our deep rooted stories and generational traumas, no one's talking about them. So we're like, okay, what do we do with it?
Right.
Do we just keep
Well,
them a secret?
absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
back in the days, we was raised on social media. So
right,
we were always told, number one, internet is a bully. That's number one. So everybody literally scared to kind of talk out because the internet attack people a lot. Then they judge a lot. Yeah, they judge a lot. And it's so many of the ones that's behind the bullying is the ones that actually need healing. They're the ones afraid to even much speak up. So I think they attack the people that have the courage. And the ones that have the courage are too afraid to speak up because of what other people think.
right. And even though those people are attacking and bullying, the funny thing is our stories are doing something for them. They may not say it, but it is. And it's moving them in some way in the background.
Right.
But out in the open, they start to spill out negativity because it makes them feel too comfortable because they're already comfortable not talking about their stories and getting the healing, but it makes them feel comfortable. Well, I'm going to go against it. But in their mind, it's thought provoking because they're like, well, wait, I have to do some work. I know there's some trauma there.
Yeah. And I just feel like even with that, I'm a 70s baby. So I didn't know because it's like the norm when you grow up in a family in a house that kept secrets and you was mistreated a lot and things so that happened back in the days in your family. Let's just put it like that. You
Yeah.
grow up thinking when you meet unhealthy friends that remind you of a family that you come from that you think that's the norm because that's
Yep.
all that you was grew up on, that's all you knew. Even in relationships, when I wasn't around healthy women, that I saw a healthy marriage, I saw
Right.
dysfunctional. So now we got young girls thinking that we have to speak to our, black kings, all kind of
A
ways,
certain manner.
disrespectful. Yeah. We wasn't taught that much mannerism, but to respect our elders, and whatever happened in the home, just stay in the home. So we couldn't speak out and voice our opinions back then, and it's crazy because, you know, like Dr. Martin Luther King, a lot of our history fought so much for our rights to speak out to
Yep.
where in our own homes we had to keep secrets. So
Right.
um, I was just happy that God allowed me to go through a very, 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 very difficult childhood, adulthood in my life, and where that I got a saying I was sick or tired of being sick or tired,
Yeah.
and that I did a journey for myself to heal because I see that I never was getting anywhere. I was attracting the same people but with different names.
Yeah.
And I just saw the background that I came from and I was like, I know I'm different. I felt I was different since a little girl. I just didn't know. I just didn't know like what to do
So
with I had all this in me. Like I just didn't
yeah.
know.
So now that you're an adult, 70s baby, you clearly went through some things in your life. Who would you say Trina Dorsey is? How would you describe Trina Dorsey? What would you say you represent?
One, I want to get away from Trina Dorsey. People know me as Trina Dorsey because I got married in 2019, and around that time I was actually doing the healing process. So once I started speaking out, that was my married name. I was born as Trina Thompson. So when I did, signed the book deal and went viral on the internet, people already knew my story as Trina Dorsey. So I didn't want to change that at the moment. I just wanted to stick with what people knew,
Right.
easy access
by them hearing my story a little bit, on a lot of platforms that I did speak on. And if I would have just switched my name back to my maiden name, I would have confused a lot of people. So in my book, it would get to tell you how I became Trina Dorsey.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what would you say you represent?
Right now, I represent a better healing version of myself. I represent women with, I would say, so little to nine voices. I represent a healed depression version, even abandonment, um, sexual assault. Um, I represent a lot. It's so many labels to my story that I mean, I represent a lot. So right now, I just represent women that don't have voices, and that I want them to know that it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay that where you came from do not detect where you're going. So a lot of us are so scared that I'm 40, I'll be 49 this year. So we take this trauma thinking we stuck here. We get used to, okay, life then passed us up. We'll never, I just don't see no coming out of it. And I'm just here to tell anybody, ain't no age limit on healing. Ain't no age limit of getting better. It just starts. And I just jumped off the porch with faith. I battled with it for a long time. And like I said, it wasn't easy. But I'm
Yeah.
I'm here, and I'm happy that I touched a lot of people. I knew my story was gonna touch people, but I definitely didn't know it was gonna go that viral, that a lot of people not afraid, to speak. I have a lot of DMs and a lot of questions. People are waiting to hear.
Yes. So I when I saw a clip of your story. It was actually a friend of mine that sent it to me. And when I clicked on it and I started listening, I'm like, oh my gosh. Listen, you represent power. You represent Black women. You represent life. You represent breaking generational cycles. You represent making noise. And
Wow.
you represent your purpose
Wow.
boldly, authentically, and beautifully.
Wow.
You were born for this. And when I watched your video, it
Wow.
was like it was like God was saying, Janelle Simpson, you are on the right path.
Right.
Because, one of the things that I was afraid of was, when COVID happened was when I first became an author. And for years, God was saying, write this book. You need to write this book. It's needed. Your book is needed in this season and right now because there's some people that went to the same trauma as you and they're afraid and they're locked up. They can't heal and they are not accepting the call and their purpose. And I need you to write this
Right.
book. And one of the things that I went through writing the book was, oh my gosh, I can't write it like this. If I write it like this and I put too much in there, people are going to judge me. They're going to say things about me. They're going to start looking at me sideways. They're going to be uncomfortable. I was so fearful. And I felt disgusted at one point because I'm like, how are people going to look at me when they hear that my family member did this to me? And when I saw your story, it was like an earthquake. It was a sounding earthquake. Like it just shook me and said, listen, there are other women that are prepared to
Yeah.
be a part of your assignment and journey. And I'm going to build a strong tower around you guys. And I see God forming that pillar around you already.
Exactly.
He's already put so many people in your corner and you can't see them yet, but they are
Mhm.
there and they're ready to, they got your back. They got you whenever you need them, whatever you want, whatever it is that you are seeking. God already put it in them and in their spirits to just come to you and say, hey, Trina, I have this for you. So your story, I want to know about your early childhood. What was it like being raised by your grandparents? What was your childhood like? What were some
I
memories
don't,
that you can remember?
and I'm happy you asked me this because to clear this up, I don't have any bad memories of my grandparents.
Yeah.
Um, One, they protected me very well. Um, I don't have bad memories. I just feel betrayed.
Yeah.
Uh, I was brought up. Anything I wanted, I had. It was no question. And it wasn't about the money that they took care of me. It was about the lies, um, the lies and the betrayal. You know, um, I grew up in a little, I ain't gonna say small, in a big community. It was low income housing back in the days called the Callio Project. And my grandfather was very, very well known, and my grandmother was too, a sweet woman. So, like I said, when I grew up, I thought they was my parents, from day one. My mama
Yeah.
wasn't in a home when I was growing up. She never lived with us or none of that. So when I did find out, like I was like 10, so it was no more birthdays and Christmas I look forward to. Like I didn't look forward to nothing as a kid anymore. It's like they snatched that from me. Um, so when the kids would play, for Christmas, all I wanted was this woman that I was going to see a lot to find out this was my mom, for her to come home because I had questions like why are you here, and how could you just leave me with unanswers. So um and I think that's when I started kind of lashing out as a young girl. I didn't trust nobody in my family at that point.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard to trust after you believe that everybody's telling you the truth, and you wait so long to find out that things aren't even the way that I really thought it was. I'm living this great
Oh,
child.
so much. Like my
Yeah.
mom have eight. My mom make the eight siblings. So my grandmother had four boys and four girls, and my family kind of big, and it was just so much. I would go to each one of my aunt's house, which they my sisters too. They'll never admit it. Um, I'll go to their home and I just felt out of place. They mistreated me, like literally, like they didn't want to be bothered. You could feel the negativity. I was always a kid that was always joyful to be around my family. Even after it came out, I was teased in the neighborhood saying that my aunties was my sister. And I'm asking questions like why people in the neighborhood saying, certain things. Everybody would tell me just be quiet. They even much made up lies. My mama got molested, by some young boys. And I just didn't understand if she did get molested and y'all knew who it was, why these guys never was arrested. So
Yeah.
it was so many unanswered questions. If y'all know all this, why nothing was done? Why was she put in a mental institution and nothing was never wrong with her? So it was certain things I couldn't ask when I was a young girl. And my grandfather passed when I was 13. And he didn't say much. He apologized. He just said he was sorry. And I just never knew why did he say he was sorry. Like why would he tell me he's sorry on his dying bed?
Right.
Um, after years passed and I wound up taking the DNA test with my mom, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get it. That's what he was trying to say he was sorry for. So it just brought me into my adult life. And it wasn't a good picture because I then pretended like I didn't know this family. I
Yeah.
made my own family.
Yeah. You just block them out. You try to Yeah, try to separate yourself from it, right?
I was back and forth. I tug of war with my family a lot because I did love them, and I thought they would come around. So I would go around still, acting like nothing happened. They didn't want to talk about it, so I let it go, you know, just to be around them. And then I just didn't want to, like I said on my first interview, I was more ashamed of what people would think about me than my family. So it was not like I was protecting them. I was more like protecting me because I just didn't know. Like I didn't know what people was gonna say. I was already getting teased as a young girl. Then I was
Yeah.
trying to protect my children. I didn't want them to grow up knowing all this was going on. So I just kept quiet. And the mere fact that I didn't spoke on the first interview, that it passed down to me. Then I had my cousins molesting me. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna be quiet because they might put me away like my mom.
Yeah.
And I just didn't say nothing. So it was a lot of bad family secrets, and right now they still in denial and they still need some healing. And you know I pray for them.
Yeah.
But um
You
it
know,
was about them no more. I got tired of just worrying about what the naysayers say. And it was time for me to set me and my children free from all the lies they told, which is the title of my book.
yeah. And how old were you when you found out that your grandfather was really your father?
I was about 10 when I found out, but it wasn't real facts. Like I didn't really have facts.
Yeah.
It was in the air saying that was my grandfather. The people in the family was saying that was my dad. I mean, close kin, his brother, my grandmother, sisters, everybody was, it just was the talk of the family everywhere I go. I didn't get real facts until I was an adult. My mom wound up having a baby in the state hospital. So she had to go through this trauma twice. Somebody was molesting her in state custody, and she wound up getting pregnant, and they needed some blood work. And my family didn't know that's what I was doing, actually taking a DNA with my mom because they
Yeah.
wouldn't do it with me. My aunts or my uncles didn't want to get involved. They didn't want to do it. So I wound up taking the DNA with my mom, and it became 1% that I'm my mom's daughter, and 98.9 I'm her sibling. And that mean we have the same father.
Wow.
And so that's
How
when
did
I really told the family and I came really out with the story. And they really couldn't say nothing at that point because I had facts.
and when you girl, when you found that out, what mental state were you in? Like where were you in your life at that point?
At that point, I was going through a lot of depression. I had just had my second child, and my mom was pregnant along with me. My brother and my daughter is 3 weeks apart. So it was a lot for me to take in, but then I held it in for years. All I kept telling my family, like, just to tell me the truth. And they wouldn't tell me the truth. So I didn't bring out the DNA weapon
Mhm.
until I want to say around 2019. Um, and then I wound up saying, I'm gonna let it all out at this point. And my grandmother was real sick. I had stopped speaking to her for about 2 years. Um, Only because I didn't want her to take sides. Her daughters was against me. And I got tired of, going backwards and forward trying to prove a point. And I knew the truth, and everybody still was denying and lying.
Yeah.
And she wound up calling me one day, and I came to visit her. I was staying in Florida, and she wound up telling me that she didn't have the courage to go out. And she told me she was not mad at me from speaking out. She just didn't have the voice. She just felt like I was stronger than her. And three weeks later, my grandmother caught a stroke after she gave me her blessings and told me, and I knew my grandmother had a bad life because I grew up in the same house with her and my grandfather. So I knew what my grandfather brought my grandmother through mentally and emotionally. So she did the best that she knew, coming from those days. So I never held anything against her in that matter. So on to my adult life, my kids at that point thought my mom was not living because I never told them about my mom. They thought my mom was actually deceased. And she wound up having I want to say, 45th or 46th birthday party at a group home she was living in. And that's when I brought my kids to finally meet my mom. And it was like, we have a grandmother? And I wound up sitting down telling them the story, how I came, how I was brought up and what was going on. And my kids didn't believe it, because I never told them anything bad about my family.
Yeah.
I kept them away, but then I still let them go see, my grandmother and stuff like that. So they didn't know anything bad about my family at all you know, um, actually just getting on board, seeing what's really going on, what's the light or whatever. I just wanted them to be old enough to understand and not be young and have to go through a lot of the trauma that I went through hearing this, this story and that story. And I just wanted them to be old enough. I didn't want them to come up traumatized
Yeah.
about what I had going on or felt like they had to defend me
Yeah.
in a situation.
And I find it's always
And then
good
cancer
to,
came on. So they still, wind up having to take care of me because I wind up suffering with cancer twice.
yeah. So I know you explained, you met your mom. What was that like for you meeting your mom and now finally knowing your mother and building a relationship with her? And I know you're working on getting her out of the facility that she's in right now.
Um, it took a while. Like I said, I was more embarrassed that I had to now go and tell people, um and stuff like that. So 3 years ago, when my grandmother passed, I got a chance to get my mom out of a group home she was staying in that she was being neglected. I went to visit her so that she can go to my grandmother's funeral, and she got to stay with me for 2 years. I couldn't even much explain that feeling. Like it just was like a kid all over again for me to give my mama just of some freedom. Just the love that I didn't even much think I had in me to share with her is it just is over it was overwhelming. And right now I call her all the time, and I'm fighting. So hopefully every platform that I touch, it gets to the right people's hands.
Yeah.
Right now the state has custody over my mom. Um, So I'm fighting, and I just feel like I shouldn't lose rights of my mom. That's my mom. When she was put in the state facility, my grandmother didn't know she was signing her rights over to the state when she was 16. The state lost their rights once my mama became pregnant, and they try to hide it and go have an abortion and cover it up because that kid is from one of the workers that uh, worked at that facility. And they lost their rights then. So when I got my mama 2 years ago, I was going through a divorce. I had lost my grandmother. I lost my son's father. I had spent 20 years with with that man. We had 20 years we shared. They died 2 weeks apart. In the house that I moved in Atlanta with my mom, it caught a fire. It was a lot going on in my life, even with grief. But I still held on to my mom. I didn't want to give her back to the state. So I was flying her. I took her to the funeral. I just pampered her with anything she wanted. And I didn't have my own place when I moved back to Louisiana. I had to establish myself. So she had to go back into a facility. And right now, the state has custody over her. So I'm not right now. I'm trying to work on getting my own living assistance home so I can bring her home, and that I won't call it like a living assistant, like where she's staying. I wanted to be a home away from home, which would be her home, and we go into business together. And that we do take maybe two or three more other clients from the state, because I know from experience, had to watch my mama go through a lot of trauma with people mistreating her in the state.
Mhm.
So I just want to give other people an opportunity, a home away from home. So my business is called DNM, All About You Living Assistance. And the DNM stands for daughter and mama. And that's because we've been through this together, me and my mom. And I want people to understand it's all about them. It's not all about me and my mom. I put me and my mama out the equation, because what my mama been through, we can't take that back. What I've been through, I can't take that back. We just have to move forward. And our lives was actually built for somebody else that couldn't handle this situation and can't handle it now. And so for a family to come to our establishment and be like, they went through that, and they got through. I want people to feel like just because something's going on with their family, which my nothing was wrong with my mom, and they medicated her to where that all this medication has did a lot in her life, in her body. She's been in this institution since she was 16, and she be 62 come next week, July 3rd. So
Amazing.
we talking about a long period of time that her life got stole from her on medication. Right now she's very happy. She wouldn't talk at one time. I went saw her for Mother's Day. um, she was happy. I did a clip on my Instagram where I brought her roses and
Yes,
stuff
I
like
saw
that for
that.
Mother's Day. She actually calls me. She would never call home. Ever in her life, she would never call home. It was one point of time that she wouldn't even much look at me, sit down and have a conversation with me. I think she was too ashamed, or she was in a lot of pain. I think she feels safe now, because the 2 years that I had her, I reminded her she didn't have to go back and live that, even live that life. That she was now safe, and that I was going to fight for her. And now I think she knows somebody speaking up for her and fighting for her. She's not afraid to talk anymore. So my
Yeah.
mom and me have a good communication, and I'm just working on making the state pay for what they've done to my mom and my brother. Um, they swept that under the rug, and they keep saying it's a statute of limitation um, for my mom. And I don't think it should be a statute of limitation with somebody with disabilities, and this happened in a state facility.
Absolutely.
Is no way in hell that a state let a worker, with child, a baby from for my mom, and then try to go have an abortion, and get rid of the kid behind, my back. So I just think me keep speaking that it get in the right hands, and that the state pay,
You
for the
did, yeah.
justice of my mom, because her son had to get taken away from her also. She grew up without me in her life, and then now my little brother is living with a family member, and he's 29 years old. So I just think to reunite me and my family, that's my main goal right now. So
Yeah.
that it touches the right hand,
And
and my
it will.
mama could get awarded to come home with her children and her grandchildren. Um, but my biggest goal here moving forward is to get the book dropped. And like I said, to get this business started, and to have the state pay for what they done. My mom,
Yeah.
she been through enough. And I mean, enough is enough. And I'm just not gonna let them push this under the rug. I just think uh social media is a big platform right now, and I know that somebody gonna hear this story and gonna open their case for my mom because they can't lie about it because my brother is here.
You're
He's
right.
living right out here in Baton Rouge. You can't lie. You know, she got pregnant in the state's custody, so it had to be with the, from one of the workers.
Hmm.
They don't leave those facilities. It happens right in there. And if it wasn't a worker, it was another client. And the men homes is on the other side from the women homes. So now it's neglect because how the men and the women even much get together and where y'all was when
Right.
this happened.
Right.
So at this point, it's just no excuses and I just want justice for Pat. I said I
And
was
and
gonna
and
start t-shirts saying
we're
justice.
gonna get the justice for Pat. We're
Yeah,
we're gonna get it. And you know what? Social media is the best place
yeah,
to keep posting and getting the word out there and getting the support. Because
yes,
we're gonna get it.
yes.
And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen faster than we even expect it to happen.
I'm
Real
praying.
fast going to happen. When we
I'm,
come together as one and we join forces, trust me, we'll break things.
yeah.
We'll break
I
the whole
feel it.
system.
I feel it. I just feel I don't ever since I did do the podcast and I saw so much feedback and so many people reached out. Um I knew a while back that this story, because I had a lot of friends saying, I need you to write this book. I need you to tell this story. I
Right.
need you to do this. And it was something kept interrupting me, like just something. And I was like, because I was going through a lot of panic attacks, like I said in the interview, I couldn't eat for 14 years. And they had a lot of people in the DM was like, I need her to explain to me that because I just don't think she could have survived, without eating. In the comments on YouTube, and for those who want to know, I drunk Ensure Plus, and that's something they give people when they cannot eat anymore, which they feed them through a tube. In my case, I was drinking about 13 of them a day,
Yeah.
um, to just get myself full. And this went on for like 14 years, and maybe about 3 years, I started eating mashed potatoes. So it was the insure and the mashed potatoes, the only two things I lived off for 14 years. And it was just the anxiety and the depression because they had to remove the tumors out of my throat. So my doctors was like, "Is nothing else we can do. We didn't heard your story. If you heal inside, the anxiety gonna go away fast and you will be able to swallow." And I was just like, at that point, I still had this much faith, just little much faith. And on my Instagram, y'all can see the picture side by side where I was this small, deteriorating.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, like I just don't know what to do. And God was like, I need you to just surrender. I need you to surrender.
You said something right there. If you heal on the inside, you'll start to actually heal. And we don't realize that when we're sick, there's something else, so much trauma that we're carrying and we're like stifling ourselves with it. And
Ooh,
that's causing everything else in our body to deteriorate. We can't function. We're feeling so much pain and we can't understand why. It's because that root, that trauma that we're trying to avoid from dealing with, that we spent so long trying to block out. But you see
people
what you said?
have to
God said
know.
surrender.
They have to know
Yeah.
generational curses are real.
Real.
It is real.
It is real.
Demonic spirits are real.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I was in a warfare. And, God said, touch not my anointed, you know.
And
And he said, you gonna go through this, but you shall not die. He was just molding me
mhm.
for the person that I am now and the person where I'm going. He was like, I could trust you with this pain. Only if you just stay, if you stand still and believe. I never doubted my faith. I got weak in the journey. I couldn't eat in 14 years in a journey. I mean, I lost everything in the journey. I got homeless in the journey. I
But
lost,
God.
but God, like I almost lost my mind in the journey.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm here, even my life, even with the cancer I had to deal with. And I was just like, why little old me had to hold so much weight?
Because you're
And
chosen.
God said, why not you?
Right. And now you are a two-time cancer survivor. Two
Yeah,
times, not one, but
two
two.
times,
Two-time.
twice.
He sustained you, he kept you.
Yeah,
Despite what you're going through, all that pain you're feeling in the inside, the pit of your stomach, he kept
yeah,
you.
he
And I
kept.
know you already explained, I know one of the most challenging things for you was not being able to eat for 14 years, not knowing where to start with healing the trauma, facing what you're going through. The truth now, my grandfather is my father. My
Right,
mom's in this facility and I want her out. I want her home. I want to get to know her. I want to love on her. I want to let her enjoy life that she didn't get to enjoy from the age of 16.
right.
What other challenges would you say that you faced during that time, going battling cancer?
My kids was my strength mainly. I knew what I went through as a young girl with my family, like, the dysfunction. So all I kept hearing was, you can't die and leave them. Because if you die, they going to have to fight this. See, it's going to go down to my children. And they shouldn't have to suffer for my ancestors. I was already chosen. And I felt like if I would have just gave up, I'd have took the sucker way out. But God wasn't going to allow me to give up no matter what. I got to my lowest of my lowest to my weakest. And somehow, some way, God still gave me strength to do what I had to do. And doctors was like, I don't even much know how this lady living. They didn't know how I was living. They didn't understand. They didn't understand nothing. Um I would go to doctors and take blood work and they like, it's nothing wrong. Like she's fine. And I had this one doctor say it's rooted from the inside. But I just want all your viewers to know, it starts with self. And a lot of people don't like to sit with self because they have to go back to that place where they thought they buried a
Right.
lot of hurt and trauma at. And you have to start reliving what you thought that you buried and dished away. And if you was chosen, because a lot of us was called to do a lot of things, but few of us was chosen.
Mhm.
And it's a difference when you chose to, do something. God allow us to walk through some things that we'll never understand. And your viewers, I really need y'all to get this. Um, it start with forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key. It's gonna be a lot of people is not gonna give you that apology that you're looking for. And I don't want you to hinder what God got for you because you walking around with unforgiveness in your heart. Unforgiveness brings sickness in your body. That's what a tumor started developing in my body because I had unforgiveness in my heart. So you have to forgive those people even if they don't want to receive it or even if they're not willing to tell you that they're sorry. So I started journaling and everybody that hurt me, I wrote their name down and wrote what they done to me. And at the end of the letter, I say, I forgive you all. And once I started writing everybody's name and how they made me feel, then I dished it. It was a done deal. And it took me a lot, but when it got to me, when it got to forgiving myself from allowing people to do me certain things and even allowing myself to accept certain things because when I grew up, I didn't know anything about boundaries and, you know, setting boundaries with people and, not letting people mistreat you. So when I got to the point that I had to go through my healing journey, I learned boundaries. I learned no mean no, and I'ma stand on it. I learned to ask, to stand my ground, that I'm gonna give my space. I'm gonna take some self healing, for myself, then do some self care for myself. I had to learn who Trina was. I
Yeah.
was a mom at 16 years old, so I grew up so fast. I didn't get to experience a childhood. I did more child trauma and then protecting my children, because I had my kids small so that they didn't go through the things that I went through. So I didn't know who I was. So at that point, I had to find out what I like all over again, who I was, discover my identity, and things like that. And it just started with the man in the mirror, facing my fears. And like I said, one of my biggest fears was me. You know, uh, the anxiety had me where I thought I was gonna die if I eat. And every day, it was a struggle for me to forgive myself. I literally had to just everyday affirmations over my life. Like, God ain't bring you this far to leave you. You can do this. Somebody needs you. You need you. Your kids need you. Your mom needs you. It wasn't your fault. You deserve love. You deserve healing. You deserve life. And I had to keep saying that until I built strength. Uh,
Yeah.
to build the strength to battle these things. And it's not easy, but you got to be ready to go to war,
You
and
have to.
you got to be ready for the don't care. It's like, don't care what people say. Like, you have to be ready,
And
because
that's the
trust me,
thing.
they gonna
And
have some
that's the
people
thing. When you
judging.
say, breaking generational cycles, you have to be ready to stand alone. You have to be ready to go to the battlefield. You have to be ready for people to judge you. You have to be ready for people to misunderstand you. And people to stand against you and not want you to do it, because when they see you breaking the generational cycle that they're comfortable and they want to continue, they try
That's
to
right.
confuse you as well. So you have to
I
be
have a lot
prepared
of
for
que-
that.
they have
So
a lot of questions people ask, why it took so long to say stuff.
yeah,
It's in God's time, and it wasn't in
yeah.
my time. So for a lot of people that was in the comments, like, why it took so long, it ain't easy.
It's it's not your
So
timing,
it
because
was
you
in my
think about it. You said um, unforgiveness brings sickness to your body. So if you haven't forgiven and you're still dealing with this root of sickness in your belly, which is the trauma sickness, how can you come out? You won't come out in the right way, and people won't receive your message or your story until you get to know who Trina is and heal Trina,
right.
and then take time with Trina, because you're going to be frustrated with yourself at some point.
Exactly.
So I know you said a little bit about how you started your healing journey, writing and affirmations. But what other steps did you take to really start your healing journey and stay in that process and not give up?
Um, I had told this story a while back, I think in 2019, on the Shekinah Joe show. She was doing a podcast back in 2019, and I told this story then. And at that point, I wasn't healed. I still wasn't eating. So I still was traumatized when I told this story. And it took years later that I had to come revisit this story. Um, my last son, he graduated out of high school. And at that point, the doctors were saying that I had a lot of inflammation in my body with drinking all that milk. So it was eventually I was gonna die, if I didn't, eat. Um, so once my son left, a lady named, well, she's not a lady no more. She's a sister of mine now. Natasha, she went through, I met her through a third party friend of mine in Atlanta, and she tagged me in her podcast. And she said she went through something similar to what you're going through, and she has a 12-step healing program. And she stays in Florida. So I moved to Florida, and she couldn't believe I came to Florida, and she went on this journey with me. She was my accountability partner. She gave me her book of the 12-step healing. At first, I just put the book down. I took it for, a joke. I didn't believe in it. And she was like, look, my service is cost. And the mere fact I'm, I'm taking you in, I need you to take this serious. Because she went through the same thing. Like she had a child for her dad. So she knew, and she said she saw so much of me, her and me. And she was a tough cookie. And I literally took her book and took it seriously. And she had to back away from me for a little while because she was going through, it was COVID. She was going through a lot. Her mom caught COVID and her mom passed. So that was kind of the hardest thing for me, that I wasn't in the right to even be there for my friend. So at that point, I didn't want to lose the good people that God brought into my life, me being broken. So I wound up literally going through that book and taking those steps that she told me to do, and it actually worked. Here I am today. I started eating. I went through every page of that book that my friend has, and it works. It works. And I thank God for her not giving up on me. I thank God for a lot of my friends um, that I met through this journey, and we became sisters, that they didn't give up on me. So I tell anybody, God will remove so many negative things out your life
Mhm.
if you're willing to take that leap of faith, and He will replace them with the people that He see in your future. So I always tell people to be around people where you see yourself going. Um, so that was a part of my healing journey, going through those steps and actually taking accountability
Accountability.
and wanting to do it. So I battled with my own self. I didn't want nobody to help me. I just wanted to do it myself. I went through depression. I even took pills to end my life because it got hard going through that journey.
Yeah.
So I got to a stage in my life that I just wanted to end my life. That didn't work. God said you're still not going nowhere.
Oh no, he's not
Um,
gonna let you go that easy.
so it's not easy. And it's not for everybody. This walk not for everybody. So I'm just happy God put me on assignment. And I'm here for any woman, any young girl, any man, any child. This not just for women. They have men going through, depression. They have been molested. They have things going on, in their life. Actually, a lot of men
A lot of men.
came to me for advice, more than women. They just say something about my voice. They just felt it. So I just thank God that He's using me, and I'm willing to be used. I had always told God if He got me through, I would never stop giving Him the glory for every day that I wake up,
And now you're
because
giving him a bigger
this
glory.
story will end, and
Yeah.
it's going to end well. I want your audience to really get it. I don't want to leave and they not knowing, how serious it is, that depression is real,
Yeah.
that the enemy is out to steal, kill, and rob in any situation. I want them to know it's not their fault if they've been molested by any family members. It's not your fault. It's nothing you should be ashamed of. You're not by yourself. To get yourself into a powerful woman group that's been through the same thing or similar, because we all have stories. It might not be the same thing, but at least get the message. Um, you deserve life. So to anybody that's going through any type of depression, or been a victim of rape or deceived with even family members, and they feel like their family gonna judge them or somebody gonna judge them, and even if they don't want to break up their family home, in order for you to get better, in order for your kids to get better, and if you're the curse breaker in that family, it's gonna cause you to get isolated. God gonna have to isolate you before He elevates you. So you're still not alone. Like I said, it's not easy. The journey is not easy, and I just think a lot of people is afraid now because we have social media, and people just afraid to speak. And I think people like me, and I thank God for me that was bold enough to stand on my promises to God that I would talk about it, and I hope hopefully my voice and my story and my journey uh get a lot of people to set themselves free of bondage, so that they can live a life. And it's so many people calling out for help and just don't know how. We have people that's getting addicted to drugs and alcohol, even sex, because if they was molested, then sex come easy for that person. They don't know how. Um,
To control it, right? Because they were exposed at a young age. They don't know how to control those urges and they think something's wrong with them. It's a tough road, and a lot of people don't know who to go to because they're afraid and they feel ashamed, and they
right.
don't want to carry that weight on their back of feeling like people are looking at them because people start judging. Oh, you're nasty. How could you let that happen to you? Why didn't you speak up earlier?
Like
What
they told me, right,
what would you say to somebody who's they want to break that generational cycle because it repeats itself, right? And the
yes,
only way to break it is to start speaking out so that the family knows about it, that it's happening, because then
right.
it's consistently going on in the family. Cousins are getting it, your children are getting it from family members because we didn't tell them what happened to us. So
Right.
now we're allowing them around family members and not telling them you have to be safe. Here's a safety word. Here are precautions to take. What would you tell somebody who knows that they are a generational curse breaker? They're here to break the cycle. What would be some steps that you would say that they need to start taking?
I would tell them to confront themselves first. Once they get their own strength to confront themselves, to know that they're not the problem, they wasn't a cause of the situation that is going on in this family. And I confronted my family, and I wind up getting whatever backlash they had. And once I really saw how they felt about my healing, then at that point it was off limits. I didn't care like if I told my story or not, because at this point it was all about them. And my story has nothing to do with my family. It's actually about me and my mom. Y'all just was a part of it. Y'all was in the family. Y'all knew about it. Y'all didn't say anything. But this is not about y'all. So I would tell anybody to make sure that this is something they want. You know, don't die leaving this to your children to deal with. If you were the cycle breaker of your children and you want a healthy life, you can start. I don't care how old you is. You can start. You can start, and it start by just identifying the cause, what it is. And if you don't want to go to family members, just realize that you're not going to get that apology from them. So just start journaling. Get under a group therapy, and talk to some people, some women in a group. Like, we have a healing circle too. So if they go to my page and click the link in my bio, it's gonna say at the healing circle. So we have a group of women that we go live every morning at 8 o'clock, from Monday through Friday. And we give events where women could come there. No judgmental zone. We do brunches. We speak, we tell, we give out gifts, we give out giveaways, we do a lot. So I just say get involved, know your community. Um, and like you say, social media now is a platform. You can actually DM a lot of people these podcasts. Just know you have to be comfortable to know it's gonna get uncomfortable.
Yes.
Once you are right with knowing you gonna get uncomfortable and that it may get a little rocky, but you gotta understand, just keep the faith. It's gonna get better as you continue on this journey. Um, even with my kids, once they found out my kids need, healing. They're grown now, but I see that a lot what my children was going through when they was younger, it was prior to me, keeping secrets from them. So they went through a depressed stage and still going through it, but I see them getting better as I get better. Because
Yeah.
once I break the chain of my life, my children gonna be set free.
That's,
So you just have to understand your journey in this and find your why in this, and you have to know that if God chose you to do a certain thing in your life when you was called, you have to be open to the assignment and trust God gonna bring you through it. He's never gonna lead you nowhere that he's not gonna lead you out. So you definitely have to be um, really standing on your faith and forgive. No matter what those people did or whatever family members or whatever you've been through, forgive, because forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you to be free. It's for you to set yourself free, and I mean really forgive, because it was at a point that I said I forgave my family and still went to the barbecues around them and was very uncomfortable. So, and it took me years. So I'm just telling you, it's not gonna happen tomorrow. It's not. It took. I'm 48. It took 40 years of my life for it to be dysfunction. So you know it's gonna take a couple of more years for me to get it right.
yeah.
But I'm on the right track now. I'm following the yellow big road. I'm going down that road. So I'm on the right track. My life is aligned now. To come from to renewing my mind all over again and can eat very well now when
And I
I
say
thought at
it.
one time I couldn't eat at, 14 years. So I defeated that. So there's a lot of stuff that, I defeated, and I'm proud of myself from breaking a curse. And I'm gonna keep on, and I'm gonna keep speaking. I'm gonna
Yes,
keep
you are.
talking, and until I set my mama free and many other women.
Forgiveness and
Yeah,
healing is a journey. It's
it's
a
journey.
journey.
This gonna be
It's
going on
something
for the
that we
rest of my
learn.
life. Yeah,
Yep, we learn along the way. It's not something that is taught. We just learn it for ourselves, and
yeah.
we take the time. Take time and have grace on with yourself, because it's
Yes.
not always going to be easy to be around people that hurt you. You're going to feel that upset emotion and disturbance, and you're going to be like, "Well, I thought I healed." No, there's still a little root there. You got to go back and do the work. What would you say are some important values that you instilled in your children?
I had always had a different outlook when I had my children. I always let them spoke. We always was close, so I always let them, come talk to me about anything. That was one of my rules, that I never wanted them to hide anything from me. So they got to tell me how they felt. Um, they got to tell me their opinions. But I was a mother, so I did give them a voice. Uh, that don't mean I agree with the things they did, but I did let them tell me how they feel. And with my sons, I let them know that it was okay as a man to show emotions. It was okay that you don't have to worry about no woman saying you weak when you cry, because that's not the right woman for you. Um, so I always installed that in my children, to be kind, to forgive, to show compassion. People gonna be different. Don't pass judgment, because I have a transgender daughter, so I'm in the LBGQT community big time. So I have a lot of stuff going on in my life. So uh, even with that, I had to deal with my son, a gay boy, then turning into a trans woman. So just imagine I had people lashing out and, people talking down on my child. So I had to really, teach my daughter, long as you all right with you, that's all that matter. You know, people gonna say a lot about you, but long as you all right with you and God, God is a forgiving God. So don't worry about what people say. Live to make you happy. And my daughter lived her life. She lived her life and she always said my mama always installed me. And once my mama accepted who I was and still loved me because but I loved my child, knowing that that still was my child no matter what she wanted to be, gay boy, transgender, it didn't matter because God, He look at our heart. So I just feel like I was gonna love my child regardless to what, the decision my child made. And I just would tell any parent, to listen to their kids. Like listen. I think a lot of kids in this generation are crying out for discipline. Majority of kids want discipline because they feel like if their parents let them do what they want to do, it's easy for them to go out there and make the wrong decisions. And then they like, why my mama didn't stop me? Like, why? So I was a good disciplinarian. I really disciplined my children. The mere fact I didn't want to see my daughters hurt. None of my daughters have kids, so that was one cycle I broke. I was a parent at 15, and my oldest daughter be 30, no kids. I have another daughter, 24, no kids. Actually, all my kids don't have kids except my oldest son. I have 5 kids, and my oldest son is the only one with kids.
Okay.
So right now, I think by this is the internet world. I didn't grow up with the internet. I think parents need to literally monitor, our kids' behavior. They have a lot of weird stuff go on, and a lot of our kids are suicidal and we don't even much know because they crying out for some type of help, or it could be happening in their own home, like my mom, she got molested by her dad. So we don't know unless we sit down and take up time and hear our kids out and not be so quick to shut them out,
Cut them
to
out.
shut them down. Yeah.
Just
So I
listen and hear them out and try to understand from their perspective because they
yeah,
have feelings too and their feelings are not always the same as ours. What we may
right.
think is okay, they may not feel that it's okay. So
Yeah.
we have to really take the time to get to know our children, get connected with them and just listen to them.
Listen.
Understand their perspective and their minds and what they're going through mentally so we can build a stronger relationship with them.
Right.
You are now about to be a phenomenal best-selling author. We're speaking it into existence.
Yes. Girl,
You
I
are
already
right.
done counted. I just already counted. Look, I said the video got to about 105,000 views, like literally in 7 days. So I counted 105,000 of all them buying my book, over $1 million. So I'm already claiming when I drop the pre-sale link come July
Sold out.
1st, July 1st, just in pre-sales, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Yep.
It's gonna be done, and I want all the proceeds to go to my foundation. To opening up several group homes and to help women all over the world, and to bring my mom home, to open up group homes, not state facilities, because I think people should still have lives even though they have a dysfunction, if they, dyslexia, or if they mental, I just feel like they still should have a plan uh built in their life, and still should be able to go on vacations and enjoy life and teach them. I don't think they should just be medicated in a facility until they die. That's not good.
They
I
should
don't
still
like
enjoy their life.
I
Yeah, I
just feel like
agree.
they should be able to enjoy their life and not just sit around and you hand them medicine and all they do is walk around all day in a facility. Well, how I saw my mom as a zombie all her life, like just pacing the floor with medication, and she don't even much know what the real world looks like. So for to get my mom those 2 years and flew her to Florida and flew her to Atlanta and go on a long drive with her, she got to get to see Florida. She got to see Atlanta. Just those 2 years, me giving her roses every day and sitting in the salon with her and the nail shop, just showering her with that done a lot to
Give,
me. And I want to continue on doing that.
yeah,
So
for other people, just a piece of happiness and peace,
yes,
enjoyment. Yeah.
yes.
I'm excited for this. And your book, The Lies They Told. Give me a synopsis about this amazing book that's going to be a
Ooh.
bestseller, girl.
We all come from a background, like I said, where it's dysfunctional, and everybody got a story. It's just that the lies they told is a little bit about I lost myself. I had to live behind a mask, just because of the lies they told. I only knew who I was because my name on a birth certificate. I was Trina Thompson, born to Patricia Thompson without a father name up under the birth certificate. So I just feel like me in a dating world when I was younger, the first man that I looked up to in my life was the first man that betrayed me. So I just feel like that play a big part of women lives when they're dating and choosing the wrong men, because we get this version of a dysfunctional home, and it do a lot in a relationship, for its marriage and everything. I never saw a woman stand up in my family and kept a healthy marriage. None of that. They never taught us, none of that. I learned birth control through my doctor. I didn't have the women in my family teach me birth control. None of that. So the lies they told is gonna show um, who I started out to be and where I am and where I'm going. Um, because the lies they told about my life, it didn't work. I became who I was supposed to become. So people could badmouth your whole life. They could tell lies about you. They could talk about you. They could say what they want. You gotta understand, once you on an assignment with God, everything them people pointed out to be is only lies they told about you. So my book is just uh an example of coming from a dysfunctional family. The lies that they told, thought it was going to break me, thought it was going to destroy me, thought it was going to kill me, but the devil was a lie. And
Yep, and made you
here,
stronger.
yes. So I was here, and I'm grateful that book Ben was supposed to come out, but like I said, everything was in God's timing. I think now, me writing that book and the healing journey that I am in, that book is powerful. I mean powerful. I haven't saw a good read and somebody so real, in a book in a long time. We living in this fantasy world that we have to be made perfect, or we have to go get our body done to live, but we hurting. We could dress the outside up all day long. See, but when you go home and you gotta live with here, live inside, all that go out the
All that
door.
outside goes out the
Yeah.
door. Hmm.
So until you clean in the inside, everything about you is toxic. I don't care if whoever you are, the richest people go through things. So I want these kids to stop thinking that because you see these fancy cars, these nice bags, and these women, nothing against nobody that, adjusting their body or whatever, how they want to live. It's nothing against that. But I want people to know that life be lifing, and
Life be like
depression is real. And the only way out of that, you can't dress that up with money. You only could buy things to get your mind off it. Street drugs, alcohol. You only could dress pain up.
yeah.
And that's it. And like I said before, um, toxic in your stomach and your blood running through your blood veins, it does develop all kind of sickness. You will become sick because you are is rooted in your gut. So you don't want that type of sickness. I wouldn't give that to nobody what I went through. I just wouldn't. I don't understand. I tell myself time and time, Trina, without God, you just wouldn't have made it, because I knew I was weak. I couldn't have done that. And I just couldn't. It's unbelievable the curse I
It's
broke.
you
I
you
look
you
at
broke a
myself sometimes.
tremendous
Yes.
curse.
So it's I'm speechless, but I'm grateful. And I went through all this, still honoring God through the bad days, through the good days, because I saw my way out. I saw it was good on the other side. I didn't give up. And people think, you just have to praise God when things look good. No, I had to pray God. I had to thank God every day. Even I'm talking about in the worst time of my life, that's when I got my strength, because I had to keep calling on God. My mama couldn't do it for me. Friends couldn't do it for me. God wouldn't allow nobody to do it for me, because he needed the glory out of my story. We tends to put so much expectations on people in our relationships, and we get mad when those people can't fill that void. And I think it's selfish of us that we go in a relationship and drop all this trauma off on a person and think they can fix us. That's not good.
No.
I just feel like we should fix ourselves and allow God to heal us, and then He will bring healthy people in our circle, and then you will start building a healthy foundation along your journey.
And
I saw myself sitting in rooms I thought I never could sit in. And I went straight through the door. God had already had a table for me to sit at. It was already prepared. So I just say, speak it, live it, and it's going to come to existence. It definitely will. Write it down, make it vision.
And what message are you hoping that readers, because girl, you already have 140,000 buyers already. We're gonna purchase this book. What are you hoping? What's the message you want them to get? All these 140,000 people is what we're saying is gonna buy those copies of the books. What do
This
you
is my
want them to get?
I want. This is the message I want y'all to get, that just be yourself. Be yourself, be authentic. And if people can accept who you are, they're not the people for your journey. Um, I want you to take that book and read it, and some of the chapters is going to show you what I did to heal myself. And it may not work for everybody, but it may give you some pointers on how to go through life in your depressed times. It's going to show you how to deal with um, kids while you going through a depression, because some people didn't get healed and had kids, and sometimes it traumatized you that you can't even much raise your kids. So it's going to give you pointers on a lot of things. So I just want y'all gonna get, y'all about to get a school book that's gonna take y'all through a walk that I had to do, and I had to go through this pain and this hurt and this disruption and all kind of dysfunction for you guys. So I can't do the work for you. I got it in plain color or black and white or audio for you. So I want you to take it and get something out of it. Uh, grab something out of each chapter and put it together. Put your pieces together out of each chapter that I wrote, and put it together. And whatever you're going through, I hope something in one of those chapters will help you either start your healing journey, figure it out. We got a lot of book writers. We got a lot of stories that need to be told. So hopefully, my book help you get to where you need to get at, and especially empowerment. Like you said when you first came on, you say I represent power, and I feel that I do. Um, Sometimes I have to recall myself and go back and hear myself because I don't think it's me. I was only made. It ain't no more me. So I have to go and record myself and listen to myself sometimes, and I be like, "Wow, your voice do stand out." Like it really.
And
I
it's
got to
funny
hear
you said
myself.
that. It's funny you said listen back to yourself because I remember one time somebody messaged me and she said what's the word she said you have a oh my gosh what's the word she said your voice is commanding. She said you have a voice that commands people to listen. And I said what? I said no, and I would avoid listening to my voice for years until one day I sat down, listened to my voice, and I'm like, this is not me. Then we realized that God's working through us.
That's right.
That's when
That's
you
right.
realize that it's no longer your voice, it's no longer your words, it's God's work working through you to touch the people that need to be touched.
Right. And
Your
I
voice
just think
sounds
that and even for the new generation, the younger generation, I want y'all to get out of my book that if you're around a circle of friends that's gonna always tell you what you want to hear and not what you don't want to hear, then I think you need to find you a set another group of friends. Because in this point of life, you need accountability partners that's gonna bring the best out of you. And if we all around each other sick, we keep poisoning each other.
voice.
We spraying poison. It's got to be somebody in that group gonna remove themselves from that group to heal themselves. Either they gonna get it, or God gonna separate y'all. So I don't want you to fit in. Fitting in is not the key. I just feel like if you was made different, don't be scared to be different. I think the smartest person on earth is to be yourself and not a follower. So hang around, like I say, hang around people where you see you want to be at in the next 5 to 10 years. Set your goals, set your dreams, get back to dreaming. We so wrapped up into, you know, the television that we forget that that we was called for something. Uh, we have a purpose for something. Some people don't know why I'm here. Some people existing and not living, you know. So it's a difference than you existing and living. So I just want people to find out their why. Why is their purpose? Everybody is not meant to be a leader, but you meant to be something. So whatever you meant to be the best of it, and don't let nobody dumb you down or what you believe in. So I just want to encourage you out, you all out there is forgiveness is the key. Start with yourself. You're not no good for nobody unless you're good for yourself first. And let's stop spraying poison and let's get the medication for healing. And that's about it. And since we here, I'm going to announce I did a little challenge on my Instagram because I wanted the audience to be involved in my book cover. So I went with number one, everybody. So the book cover is going to be my face. Number one is me as a little girl. So y'all heard it here first.
Look at the book cover right here.
Y'all heard it here first. I'm gonna make sure you get you a copy. Send me your email so that you can get your copy, and you can get your copy first.
Oh, you have no idea how excited I am for this book.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah.
I saw the title, I was like, it's kind of similar to mine because you said
Uh-huh.
lies they told, and mine's called The Commitment to a Deceitful Liar.
Wow, I
So
gotta get it.
I'm
I
gonna
gotta
send
get
you
it.
a copy because every time people ask me why, I had to explain it to them, and the way you explained yours, the lies that they tell us from when we're young, and that's exactly what my first book was about. I was so committed to so many lies that my family told me, my parents, everything that I was told, don't tell anybody you're raped, you're never going to find a man, you're never going to get married, you're damaged goods, no one's going to want you, keep it a secret. I was told I wasn't going to amount to anything. My mom told me that I was going to become a whore, a slut.
Wow.
She told me that I had to get out of her house if I called the police on her uncle, on her brother, sorry, my uncle, and I had to retract my story. I didn't want them to hate me, and I bought into it that if I didn't retract my story, they were going to hate me. But guess what? I retracted my story and I got the same result.
Look at you, beautiful,
Thank
beautiful
you.
young woman,
I
beautiful.
it
I'm
took
talking
so
about beautiful. And I'm so happy that you didn't let the lies they told you determine where God was bringing you. And we only family by blood.
yeah. We only family by
God will
blood.
give you exactly. God will give you the family that will love you unconditionally. We only family by blood. That's it. And I tell everybody that I'm only connected through you. You know, I couldn't pick my family.
No,
God picked his family, you know.
we probably pick all the wrong
And
people, anyways.
right. I couldn't pick this. This what I landed here. It's not my job to fix what I was born into. You know, it wasn't my job to do that. I just thank God I was the one that was tough enough to stand boldly in front of them and didn't back down. Like you said, I fed into that because I just wanted that love from them and I just wanted to be accepted and I didn't want them to, you know, I just felt like I was gonna be alone. I was alone anyway because for me to hold such a secret, I still feel alone. I didn't feel good with myself going lay down at night, knowing I still was hurting, and I had no to go place to release that. So nobody shouldn't have to go through that. You shouldn't have had to went through that. I shouldn't have had to went through that. But God, I'm gonna put it this way. My pastor told me we use the terminology that God gives his uh toughest battles to his strongest people. But my pastor told me no, he makes the battle tough so his people could get strong,
That's
so
the
we can
truth.
go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I never thought of that in that way. He said, so why would he give tough battles if you already strong?
That don't make no sense. It
Exactly.
don't make no
So
sense.
he said, and when he said that Sunday in church, I was like, wow. He had to make you strong for toughest battles.
Yep. And think about it. How is he gonna make you strong? By keep giving you those battles so you can realize how strong you really are and that you can overcome and stand against anything or anyone that comes against you.
Right. So this is this and this don't end with your podcast and my book. This is a life journey we have to work. This we gonna continue on
Yeah, this is
changing
a seed.
lives every day. You know, every day we get up and wake up and I'm proud and I'm happy that you DM me. I went through your Instagram. There was no way I was gonna turn down to be on your platform. You know, I heard your story, and I just thought, you know, iron sharpens iron, and if it was anything that I needed to do um, to come bless your platform, I was gonna do it. And
Thank you so much.
I
I
thank you so much. that you take your podcast and open it up for people to come speak about a lot of things. So I'm here. I'm only one phone call away. I'm never gonna be too big for you to ever come relive
I'll still
me.
message you.
Yes, you better. I'm never gonna think I'm uh, good enough to come relive this with you again because I got some more stories.
Don't worry, we're gonna have part two because
Yeah. Oh, I
I
got
have
part two,
so many
part three,
more things
part
I want
four.
to
Yeah.
discuss with you.
So much.
But I,
I got.
I do want
Yeah.
to ask, what are your future plans moving forward? I know that we as a community are working on getting your mom out of that facility. We as a community are gonna help you build your company, your brand, the facility for other women and men that
Yeah.
need people like us in their life.
Uh, After this journey, I want to do a segment with my mom and let her speak.
Yes.
I want to. I want the people to see, and let her hear her voice and her story. We do a story together, and we go on a healing journey together. And because this book is majority about the lies they told me, but then they don't know the journey I had to go with my mom. She still has a book, but I know I will probably be the voice in helping her when she's get out to write her story, because what she went through all these years, you just can imagine, having a child for your father, and you got put away for the state for no reason. And, then you have a baby uh, by a worker in the state. So moving forward is now to go on a healing journey with my mom, and
Because
write out a
your
plan
story
about
started
her.
with her.
Yeah, get her story, and then you know, whatever God has open for us that we could do, I want to do a documentary. I see myself on a lot of platforms. I was offered my own podcast. So um, even if I decide to take the podcast to open the floor, to even start with the LBGT community, I want to open a safe place for them. It's a lot that I want to do because my little family, just with my kids, we have a lot that could be broadcast into a
Yeah.
series, you know. So
I
hopefully, hopefully we start off with, like you said, getting my mom home, building a foundation for a safe place, not only for her, for other women and men, because I want to do a women facility and a man facility. And then from once I do my second book with me and my mom, I want to go on a healing journey with my mom, even with her getting to see if she'll speak. I know she talked to me, but I want to see, can I get her to just tell a little bit of her story, how she feel, if she can even think back that far, which she could, because I spoke to her and she know a lot now. She know a lot, and get her to talk about a little bit of the trauma that she had to endure, being sheltered all those years, and hopefully this path that we going on, I'm not gonna say hopefully, I know this is gonna help a lot of people because
it
we have
will.
a lot of hurt people in the world. And I'm here if they need me by Instagram, Miss Tree Too Blessed. If anybody want to DM me privately and ask questions, I'm open. Um All I can say is it was an honor to be here with you, to know your story. You glowing. I'm so happy that you broke that cycle with your family, and I wish many blessings to you. I see you going further, helping more people, um, young girls that's molested, and for even moms to even say that, to you. Just imagine this United States is real big, and a lot of young girls, some girls are getting auctioned off from their parents, you know. So this is a topic that needed to be talked about, and it needs to be continually talked about until we can get people to come forward and start it, start healing. If not, it's just gonna be a recycle.
Cycle.
Next generation, next generation, next generation, next generation. So it's gonna take some more me's, some more you to get healed so they could come back and they could tell, their journey. And that's how God moved through testimonies. So
Testimony.
people gonna know that God is real through real people and real testimonies.
I want people to be able to reach out to you and support in any way they can, financially, reposting, purchasing your book, calling the state if you need them to. How can they reach out to you? What's your Instagram, your website, any links, GoFundMe pages that you have?
I didn't never set up a GoFundMe. A lot of friends told me to set up a GoFundMe. I wasn't a big fan of GoFundMe. I think a lot of people abused it for wrong reasons. Um, but my Instagram is Tree to Bless, TreeToblessed. Tree to Bless. Everything about me is in my Instagram, in my bio. They could click the bio, go to my YouTube. The link is gonna be up July 1st for the pre-sales for my book. That link gonna be in where they could click it. I was gonna do some T-shirts saying "Justice for Pat." So whoever buy the pre-sale books, I will give them a shirt so they can go read a little bit of the book, wear the shirt, and get the word out. I don't know if I'm hoping that it get into the right attorney's hand where they see this and be like, hold on, the state did what? Let me reach out to, this lady and see what we could do. So that's my goal. Um uh I think we're gonna raise the money just by people buying a book and t-shirts. I don't think I have to do a GoFundMe right now. So I know that home is gonna be paid in full. I'm not gonna be in debt. Um and that's it. So I was on Facebook. My name was Trina Dorsey. I can't get in my Facebook for some reason. But everything is in my bio in my Instagram. And like I said, it's Tree to Bless. My phone number's on there. My email is on there. My YouTube is on there. And on July 1st, I will be dropping a link to pre-order their books. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Trina. Thank you
You
for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Guys, please go follow her on Instagram. We are going to be purchasing her books July 1st. Don't
yeah.
forget. We Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my talk with Miss Trina Dorsey Thompson. She left us feeling, well, she left me feeling amazing. She left me feeling empowered. She left me feeling like I am not alone on this journey. And I think when we're going through life, sometimes we feel shame and embarrassment when we're going through a certain situation, forgetting that there's millions of people across the world and there is millions of people going through what we are going through where we feel ashamed and we don't want to talk about it. Who wants to talk about the fact that, your grandfather raped his daughter and had a child with her and then gave her up to the state? Crickets? None of us do. We feel ashamed. We feel embarrassed. We are scared of how people are going to judge us. We don't know where to turn. There's no support groups for these things. But guess what? Things have changed. Times have changed. There are lots of support groups. There's a nation of people that are standing and here to support each other. As you see, Trina Dorsey, she is here and she's leaving her mark. She's planting seeds. She has a message and she's not going to stop until she changes and helps people change their life and tell their stories. And that's through her book, The Lies That They Tell. And guys, please click the link below. Please purchase her book. Visit her Instagram page. Support her in any way you can. She's on the journey of, trying to get her mother out of the system and create a better life for her. She's been locked up since she was 16. Can you imagine being confined for so many years and not be able to see your own children? And the things that her mom went through. The story doesn't stop at Trina. The story is long. The story started at her mother and then her mother's mother. And we can only break these generational cycles break these trauma cycles by speaking up, telling our stories, and being a sounding board for other people to come out and share their stories and be a force and a support for each other. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Before you leave, please hit the like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe. And please share this video with somebody who you think may be interested. It may help. And, it's just good to share because, sometimes our friends and families, our loved ones are locked up. They're completely closed off and they have stories that they want to tell, but they're afraid to share it because they don't know how they're going to be judged. But please be a support system, even if you don't know what to say. Lend an ear, lend a voice, extend love, extend kindness where you don't understand, and just be that support that they need. Guys, until next time, I'm Jen Simpson. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Phenomenous. Cold ink.